Welcome to Business Line's BL Interviews, where we talk to industry leaders to understand what's happening in their companies. Today, we have with us Sridhar Vembu, the co founder and chief technologist at Zoho. Why Zoho is in the news needs no introduction. And today, Sridhar joins us to tell us about how the company is tackling all the attention that's coming its way, what are the other products that the SaaS firm is working on, and what are his overall views on whether all this attention will make a difference to India's ambitions to go Swadeshi. Hi Sridhar, thanks for joining us today. So firstly, I want to understand what are some of the products where you're seeing a lot of attention today and a lot of surge in adoption. Tell us something about that.
The product is seeing it, but of course, Aratai, Zoho Mail, the Zoho whole office suite, what we call the workplace, they are seeing the most. Aratai is seeing the biggest, and then Zoho Mail and office suite. We are handling it okay. In fact, Aratai is stable now. We are rolling out refinements, and of course, the end-to-end encryption is actively in testing right now. Hopefully, in the next literally 1 or 2 weeks, we'll have some good news on that.
So, was all of this planned at all? Did you have any idea about the government validation and adoption that was going to come your way?
See, the Zoho Mail was adopted by the government through the NIC, the National Informatics Center. That was announced a while ago, long time ago. And it's a separate data center that's being used, okay, within the government. So that is known. It is not new, and that we have been serving. In fact, there is a big support center for dedicated to this to support the government users of the Zoho suite, all of that. And what happened? The announcements that came the last 2-3 weeks, it was not anticipated. I don't know anybody anticipated this, and also the way they went so viral, right, everywhere. That definitely, I think, was a surprise, at least to us. So
Every country wants its own homegrown solutions today, but there will be some gaps in the Indian products too. What's your take on whether your products can take the space of the Western counterparts?
yeah, so first, let's understand why we need this. What is happening? We are in I distinguish the self-reliance versus self-sufficiency. And self-reliance is where our ability to trade on equal terms. Equal does not just mean trade balancing, but also equal in the sense that nobody can weaponize the trade against us. They cannot say, hey, your stuff that you sell to us is commodity that we can get from anywhere, but the stuff we sell to you is so precious you cannot get from anywhere, and we won't give it to you, right? And I know there are odd situations where there are products, very critical stuff designed in India, which often will require export controls from other countries to sell to us. They're designed by Indian talent in India. I'm not even talking about Indian talent outside India. There are these global capability centers that are designed here, and that is, either sold to us at high price or no price at all. We cannot buy it because maybe they're in the sanction list. That's an odd situation, right? I mean, an Indian citizen sitting in India is producing it, and Indian customers cannot have access to it. So these are situations that indicate the unequal nature of today's global trading system. It's obvious. In fact, I want to go back. Okay, this is a historical analogy is useful. In Japan, the whole Meiji Restoration happened in 1869. Not the date on that, right? And this happened because there was trade. It started with the whole trading, and what Japan clearly felt, all of Japan felt to be a very unfair demand placed on them. In fact, we read Japanese history, the name Commodore Perry is actually a very big name in Japanese history. And that led to the Meiji Restoration. It was called the gunboat diplomacy, I believe. That's what it is called. And forcibly, Japan was forced to open up their markets. And that the events started by this led to Meiji Restoration, and eventually the rise of Japan as a global power, particularly a global economic power, right? Technological power. And it took, for Japan to arrive at that was about 120-year journey. And So we have to realize that these are long haul things. We cannot expect instant results in 5 years, 10 years, all that. For us to achieve the true self reliance, the ideal thing would have been to have started 30, 40 years ago. The next ideal time is now. They have to start now. And in fact, sadly, India got started on a lot of this early on. We had a fab before Taiwan had a fab, semiconductor fab. We had hardware companies, PC companies, before China had PC companies. Okay. So, and we built an operating system. Most people don't know this. We built an operating system back in the late 1980s in India. We built databases, and a lot of them are built in Chennai, even. And the sad part is we managed to, and we built routers. In fact, my brother Kumar in 1991, I believe, he worked on one of the early internet routers, the crucial hardware that powers and the software that powers the internet, right? Kind of stuff was he was working on in 91, as early as 91. If we had sustained all those efforts, we would have many global champions now, world champions now in India. Unfortunately, our efforts got misdirected. And so now we are really trying to come back online. That's what we are trying to do. And the critical test for us is, can somebody weaponize technology against us? That's a critical test we should ask. If it
Right.
cannot be weaponized, then we are okay. If it can be weaponized, we have to be careful. That's all.
What more work will be needed for Zoho's products to actually take the space of some of these larger players?
Absolutely, we have to do a lot more. We are doing a lot more. And even a product like Aratai, we have a lot more in the works. We are working on a lot of refinements in the user experience, refinements and upgraded infrastructure, all of it we are working on. But we still, it's better that we at least got started, and we are we are in the early stage of, maybe 1,000 mile journey. We still have a long way to run, but at least we got started. We are running. We are healthy. That's the way I describe us.
Right. As a company, do you have the bandwidth now, either in terms of investment or the people, to do this 20-year marathon, as you call it, the longer journey?
I hope so. Yes, we do, and we have. One way to look at it is we have already run. We've been running marathons for a while, so we have the stamina to run a marathon again. So,
Will we see more B2C products from Zoho going forward, just like how Aratai has now come forward?
um, definitely B2B is our core. We are definitely going very strong in that. B2C is the new division, I'm going to put it. So, and it's not coming at the expense of our B2B strength, and we are actually investing heavily there as well. And there's a lot of cross fertilization of technology across. The same audio video that's powering this call is also underneath powering Aratai itself.
Right.
So there is a lot of commonality in technology, though very different market place and very different ways to how you make money from this, all of that.
So, we've seen in the past that countries like China actually had to ban some of the existing products for their homegrown solutions to come up. Do you think India should go the same way? What are your thoughts?
I think we are a coexistence country. So we are not a country that generally goes around banning and all of that. That's just our nature, right? I think we coexist, and but with restrictions. See, it doesn't mean free for all in a way. I'll give you one example. Usefully, we can put data localization as a rule. Second, we can have, of course, our own privacy safeguards, all that. Third, we can say protocols must be opened up. That's something that I publicly said. The government can require that all of these technologies have to open their protocols. That's very much a sovereign, within the sovereign states, very much within its right to do so. European Union is doing these kinds of things now. So we must do that. We must not be shy about this. And every player who participates in this market has to participate according to our laws, our regulations, our privacy standards, all of them. That's important to insist. And that is important. But otherwise, I think we should have a open playing field. We are happy to compete aggressively here, and we compete everywhere with all the global players.
It's interesting you talk about the European Union. So, what are some of the challenges that India may face trying to go the open protocol route like the European Union?
I think once, see, the even the major tech companies, for example, it's An American judge, federal judge, found Google guilty of being a monopoly recently. I'm sure you know you can. This is and Microsoft was found a monopoly about 30 years ago, much the same way, 28 years, 30 years ago. Google has been found to be a monopoly. This is actually a judgment from a court. This is not some opinion I'm saying here. And these things matter to us in India too. If they are a monopoly in America, why can't the Indian regulators go after them too? European Union goes after them all the time. Indian regulators should have a hard look at these monopoly rules in India as well. So,
Right, got it. And this all of this kind of has that redrawing of your own business plans in any sense? Because as you said, it caught you by surprise. What is maybe perhaps you were going to release Aratai a few months later, but now you've kind of advanced it and all of that. How does
right.
that change the business plans for your management teams?
Yeah, we added more people on a urgent basis. We moved some people around and we added some infrastructure very quickly. So we have managed it so far, and we are also a lot more infrastructure is getting added. More people are coming on to this, and we are accelerating the pace of uh, development on the product. All of it we are doing. But as far as the business side, remember, Aratai doesn't produce revenue, so Aratai is not material to our business itself. Overall, our business has been growing, and all of this visibility also has been good in terms of boosting our profile in the global stage, not only in India but globally. So that's also helping. So that's the positive impact on the business.
Do you think the government should now double down on its efforts to support more homegrown solutions? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, clearly this is the time. This is the time the whole Swadeshi movement has to be built up, and and I'm glad our honorable Prime Minister talked about this recently, because it is a call for action, right, for our all of our entrepreneurs, all the companies, our citizens, all of us, because again it is really the global picture today that that makes that these are inevitable. This is the sign of the times. This is how we must act, and we have to produce the technology that we can trade on equal terms with the rest of the world. It is not that we'll never import technology, but it has to be traded on equal terms. And that also means, in a sense, if you can understand it from the nuclear weapon perspective, India is, the nuclear weapon. What is the meaning of it? It's not that we would use it. If somebody else threatens to use it, we will also threaten to use them, right? That's the idea. It's the same thing with trade. If somebody else threatens to weaponize technology against us, we must have enough technology to weaponize against them. That's the only way for us to be peaceful.
But is it easier said than done? Will it be easy for India to achieve this?
Yeah, we do have a larger talent pool now. I mean, our education system, all of that have expanded. Much larger domestic market. We are a 4 trillion economy, so there is our Indian companies can find the market in India compared to say 20 years ago. And so, for example, today the Indian market would be larger than the Japanese market for many of these things. Even 10 years ago, that was not true. 20 years ago, it was absolutely not true. So that means that an Indian entrepreneur can find the domestic market. So all of these are the green shoots, hope for why we can build all of this.
Not all sovereign pieces of technologies can be made by Zoho. So, what are some of the other companies you see as interesting in this regard?
Yes, for example, Map, you saw yesterday I tweeted about Map PLS. We plan to integrate closely with them. And yeah, in fact, that's one of the items in our plate. When actually we have to get to it. So there are companies we are also looking at who else exists that we can maybe support or boost, whatever. Because obviously we cannot do all of it. That's a fantasy. We have to stick to certain things we do well, and we have to rely on other people doing it. So and that's also infrastructure need, right? These are massive infrastructure you have to put up. So we cannot sustain all of that investment. We can maybe do one or two. I don't think we can do all of the consumer internet stuff ourselves.
Do you worry that the ideological perception of Zoho will actually be a hindrance for adoption of more of your products?
See, In this is a we are a large, diverse nation. There's a lot of viewpoints, and they get reflected online. I don't sit and worry about what negative things people post about me or the company, any of these, or ideologically paint. We are nationalists, we are patriots, we want to build made in India technology. That helps all Indians, regardless of your political persuasion, right? And so that's what we are focused on. Some people will choose to paint a political color to this. That's their prerogative, and I have nothing to say to them. So
So, Sridhar, what will be your key priorities in the coming months?
we are, there's some good products out there. We'll be very happy to integrate. We'll be happy to give them a boost, share our thing with them. So for that, we also have to succeed first. I wouldn't call ourselves a success yet in all this. Okay, we are just an early, promising beginning and on a long road ahead. So we want to have the staying power, and that's what I'm focused on. Ensure that we stay the course.
So, Sridhar, just to sum up, what are your closing thoughts on India's ambitions to go Swadeshi when it comes to the digital technologies?
Yeah. So this is the you I think you captured everything here, and maybe a last thing I want to say: we have to build these companies in India. We also have to build in a different way than simply copying a script from Silicon Valley. And I've contended that is why we have not been able to build these companies, because we have simply blindly copied a script, and that approach does not work. We have to understand our conditions, what is the reality here, and build to that reality and take that into account. That is how that's the last thing I want to say on this.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Sridhar. It's always great to hear your candid thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you.